really glad to be with you as we start the month of June. We're entering into, of course, the Pride festivals and all sorts of festivals in the city of Toronto over the summer. In the coming weeks, we'll talk more about what's going on for Pride, including plans by some queer people who would identify themselves as wanting to keep the politics in Pride, radical politics. They're planning, I think, a lot of different events for the weeks coming up before Pride and for the event itself. So that will be a wonderful development. We'll talk more about that in the coming weeks. I'm wearing the Red Square today in solidarity with students and activists in Montreal and in Quebec who continue their protests against austerity measures being imposed, or at least being that the Quebec government is trying to impose to bring the level of tuition up by over 60% over the next 5 years. And so activists have been protesting that nightly, daily, in the streets of Montreal, Quebec City, all over the province. And of course we had a wonderful demonstration here in Toronto last Wednesday, May 30th. There's another demonstration planned for Wednesday, June 5th at 8 p.m. where people are invited to bring their pots and pans to Dufferin Grove Park and different sites around the city, and to bang those pots and pans in solidarity, and also to join the growing movement against these austerity measures. As we know, the financial collapse and the most recent recession were not caused by working people, they were not caused by students, they were not caused by immigrant women and other women working in minimum wage jobs, in precarious work, in temporary work. But of course, these are the folks who are being asked to bear the brunt of the austerity measures, not only here in Canada, but around the world. And the Manifestation Casserole is an attempt to not only address the needs of students for affordable tuition that doesn't leave them with thousands and thousands of dollars of debt by the time they finish their education. It's also growing into a movement against all austerity measures. There were demonstrations in solidarity, pots and pans demonstrations or casserole demonstrations in cities around the world over the past week. And so those demonstrations continue here in Toronto. You might not see this in time for the June 5th demonstration, but I can assure you that they will continue in the weeks and months ahead. And if you want more information about the Red Square, about demonstrations of solidarity here in Toronto and elsewhere around the province, and as I say, across Canada and around the world, you can go to Facebook. As always, go to Facebook and look up the title Manif Casserole, M-A-N-I-F, Casserole, and you'll find lots more information about plans. So I encourage you to do that. Also happening this week is a really important call to action. And again, hopefully you will see this in time. Bill C-279 is being considered by the federal government right now. It's an act to amend the Canadian Human Rights Act and hate crimes provision. And the Bill C-279 seeks to add gender identity and gender expression as protected grounds federally. This would apply to federal employees, but also when these kinds of things get added to the Canadian Human Rights Act, it of course affects the acceptance of trans people and genderqueer people and people whose gender expression does not fit what society expects. It affects the rights of those folks in all different areas. So that act, Bill C-279, these additions are being considered this week. There's going to be a vote on Wednesday, June 6th in the evening in Ottawa by the federal government. And this vote will seek to send Bill C-279 to a parliamentary committee, where it will be debated further, and what it means when it goes to committee is that members of the public, people involved with groups like EGAL, Queer Ontario, and other groups that have an interest in these issues can speak to the committee and seek to move the bill forward and make it into law. So this is a really important step. It's not the final step, but it's an important step. And so people who are acting, Queer Ontario and other groups who are doing actions around this bill and trying to move it forward, are asking all of us to contact our Member of Parliament by phone, email, or letter to tell them it's time to deliver on trans human rights. This is very, very significant, of course, the acceptance of trans people and genderqueer people, two-spirited people, as full members of the Canadian family, as people with full human rights. So let's act on that. You can find out who your House of Commons member of Parliament is by going to the website that's on the screen. You can also go to www.canada.ca and look for the link to find your MP. You can also attend in person. I don't know if we'll be speaking to folks or if folks will be watching this in the Ottawa area, but you can always attend in person on Wednesday, June 6th. But for those of us who are outside of Ottawa, we can watch the vote live to see how our members of Parliament perform. And the website again is up on the screen. It's a shortened website. It's bit.ly/MBN LLZ, and again that'll be up on the screen. You can also find more about this on Facebook. Look for Bill C-279, or you can go to the Queer Ontario website at queerontario.org. So check all of those sites out to find out more about what's happening about including gender identity and gender expression in our Canadian Human Rights Act. I also want to tell you about an event coming up on June 9th, Saturday, June 9th at 8:30 p.m. at a space that Las Perlas viewers will know, because I think Las Perlas has held events there, Cinecycle at 129 Spadina Avenue. It's called Get It, Got It, Good. And it's presented by a new collective, the Almost Not Quite Collective, which is a collective of queer performance artists, visual artists, and other creative folks in the queer and trans community. It's for queers, and our closest is the way it's billed. It's on Facebook, again, under Get It, Got It, Good. And they're going to be screening a little film called What I Love About Being Queer. This is a film by Vivek Shraya, a local artist, with a question and answer afterwards, moderated by Farzana Doctor, a very talented queer novelist who's based out of Toronto. I'd like to encourage you to go. I plan to go. It's a little film that includes thoughts by about, I think, over 30 queer people about what they love about being queer, and I was very pleased to be one of those folks talking about what I love about being queer. I think I riffed a little bit on all the QU words: queer, questioning, queen. Lots and lots of wonderful thoughts from wonderful people about what they love about being queer. But so the film will be screening that evening. As well, there will be a performance by Opera Arcana, G.B. Jones, and Minus Smile. There's going to be a visual arts installation by Jess Sachse. And there will be DJs and dancing, Layla P. and Mama Knows. So it should be a really fun night. It's a wheelchair accessible space, or limited wheelchair accessibility at this space. You can go to the Facebook event to find out more about that. And it's Saturday, June 9th at 8:30 p.m. at Cinecycle, 129 Spadina Avenue. So I hope to see you there. $5 to $10 sliding scale, really reasonable. And proceeds from the events are going to help a good friend pay for surgery to help alleviate the symptoms of multiple sclerosis, which is, of course, something that affects people from all communities, including the queer community. So the film screening's at 9. So you got to get there before 9 because once the film starts and the question and answer starts, they won't be doing entry between 9 and 10. But after 10 o'clock, there will be dancing and performance. So check it out. Hope to see you there. The last thing I want to tell you about is happening the following day, Sunday, June 10th, from 11:30 to 3 p.m. So 11:30 in the morning till 3 p.m. At the Courtyard Marriott, 475 Yonge Street. This is called Victim Commemoration Ceremony, From Victim to Survivor. And this is an event that's being co-hosted by Oasis Centre de Femmes and the Toronto Rape Crisis Centre Multicultural Women Against Rape. This is being sponsored by the Ministry of the Attorney General, and June 10th is significant because it is the anniversary of the enactment of an act respecting victims of crime, the Victims' Bill of Rights. This was an act that was lobbied for by the anti-violence community, among many others. And so to commemorate that anniversary, there will be speakers and performances throughout the day. Their contributions are going to revolve around the theme from victim to survivor. And of course, we don't want to only be known as victims when we experience violence, as particularly women. We also want to move from that state to being a survivor, and that's what Oasis Centre de Femmes and the Toronto Rape Crisis Centre Multicultural Women Against Rape is all about, is helping women and any survivor of violence reclaim their power, gain control and independence in their lives, and triumph over the harm that is done, of course, by anti-woman violence. So check that out, the Victim Commemoration Ceremony from Victim to Survivor, Sunday, June 10th, 11:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Courtyard Marriott, 475 Yonge Street, right in, I believe that's in and around Dundas. You can find more information about this by calling Ellen Carlisle at 416-597-1171, extension 229. Should be a wonderful event and a celebratory event, so hope to see you there. Thanks a lot for tuning in this week, and we'll see you again next week to talk about Pride events and talk about Pride Month.